All right, y'all. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. Okay, so we're still in a celebratory mood. We have our guys, Shedeur Sanders and Jimmy Horn Jr., who met up today on the field and, did their little handshake, did their little head nod. It looked like good times at CU, but just in NFL uniforms. Now, the most interesting part of all of this is we talked about yesterday, the depth chart is out, right? So Jimmy Horn Jr., we were not happy to see that he's listed as um third string, like wide receiver 3. Yeah, we know he playing the slot, but because we see Jimmy all the time with Carolina, he's their poster child. As I said it, you would think that he was getting ready to start with all the wonderful things that they said about him, how much they featured him and are still featuring him, right? So today, Jimmy walks up to meet Shedeur and he tells him, I noticed when I watched it, there was no audio. And I noticed they walked up to each other, did the little head nod, did the little handshake. And yeah, I have a clip of it, but no audio. I noticed Jimmy was backing away from Shedeur. I was like, oh, maybe he got to hurry up and get back. Then I saw it again with the audio. And then I figured out, I was like, oh, that's what's going on. He was telling Shedeur, I'm mic'd up. So he didn't want Shedeur to say anything because he's mic'd up. I'm like, why is 6th round Jimmy Horn Jr. mic'd up for a preseason practice? When it's already said that the Carolina Panthers are putting their ones out there. Carolina's playing their ones. They're on offense, they're playing their ones against the Browns ones and twos and mixed bag on defense. So they're playing with their ones. They're saying our ones are hurt. In Cleveland's ones are hurt. Therefore, Shedeur and Huntley is going to get out there. Huntley was 2 of 5 today. What can you expect? Like, what can you expect? People are saying, oh, there were a lot of penalties on offense. I'm like, y'all went and got somebody 24 hours ago from somewhere, whether he was at home or whether he was in Miami. You got somebody 24 hours ago, never played a season for you, never played a real snap for you, that you cut a week before the first game check. So he wasn't really on your squad like they keep running around saying. He played for us last year. No, they didn't. He did not. They cut him before the first week. So they're going to throw him out there today, and he's 2 and 5. And guess he's against their ones. He's 2 and 5. Of course he's 2 and 5. What were you expecting bringing this man in on a Tuesday and expecting him to be ready? Today is Wednesday. That's 24 hours. That's how they will set these quarterbacks up. This is what they have been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting a privy to of what they have been doing to their quarterbacks, how they destroy quarterbacks. You brought Huntley in. He was 2 of 5. You talking about it was a lot of penalties on offense. You got quarterbacks out here with people they don't even know. Then you're going to let Shedeur practice with the ones. People were like, why the hell is Huntley getting so many reps? I'm like, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. This is negligence. The business side of me can't ignore it. I wish I could. I wish the fan side of me could just push it away so I can enjoy this, but I can't. You can't separate the two. I'm one person. And I know it's a lot of other people going, what the hell is going on in Cleveland? So our guys got out there, embraced, did their little head nod and everything. And Jimmy was letting Shedeur know I'm mic'd up. And they had on, Shedeur was like, look, we're twins. They had on the same shoes, the Dion's, which actually Coach Prime just posted on his own page. And people, I think Draylon Miller, like, I need a pair of them. I need a pair of them. I was thinking you need to be like Travis and go up in his office and get you some shoes. I don't know how much those shoes cost, but they're nice. There's 2 colorways, and it looked like Jimmy and Shedeur had on the same shoe. So, what I see happening here is Cleveland trying to set Shedeur up to fail. Now, remember that Andrew Berry said that Shedeur will outplay his draft stock. So that meant they knew he was better than a 5th round pick. But my question was, so if you know he's better than a 5th round pick, you know he's going to elevate. So why are you holding him back? What's the goal if you know he's going to elevate, but you keep holding him back? Let me say that one more time. What is the goal? When a corporation know a person is going to ascend to greatness, but you intentionally hold them back. And that's exactly what's happening in Cleveland. That's why it's not making a lot of sense to a lot of people. Why would you take somebody you know is better than a 5th round pick? Of course, you want to say nobody else got him, so we did. We got him for cheap, $4 million. But you keep holding him back. So you trying to torture him. Oh, okay, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. That is the goal when you know that someone is better than a 5th round pick. You know they're going to outproduce their draft stock. You know that person is going to elevate, but you do everything to make sure that doesn't happen, or you make it extremely difficult, and you got him for $4 million. So you're not even celebrating the fact that you got him for $4 million. Your goal is to torture and bully and harass and humiliate and hold him back. So fans have come into this joint practice that a lot of people say they couldn't see, but I've seen footage of it. It's just practice, right? And this is Shedeur getting reps with the ones for the first time today. Myles Garrett practice against him. Maybe Jerry Jeudy. I don't even know. Honestly, none of it matters. None of it matters if your goal is to set me up to fail. So you can go, look, he's not good. But don't forget, you said he is good. You knew he was better than a 5th round pick. So they're trying to set this young man up to fail. Everybody sees it. A lot of people are putting memes out there. I have some footage to share, putting memes out there saying when Shedeur makes his first completion, it's going to be like Snoop at a Lakers game. Everybody going to be celebrating because we just want him to win. Everybody sees how much they're holding this young man back. Everybody now sees, yes, we were excited that he's getting QB1, but they're setting him up to fail. He gets first team reps today. We're only preparing you because Dylan is hurt. I'm convinced Dylan's not hurt. I'm convinced you didn't want Dylan out here against the Panthers ones. The Panthers said, we're playing our ones. We're trying to get ready for the season. I'm putting Bryce Young out here. I'm putting my first team defense out here. I don't know what the hell you got going on. The only person playing with the 2s and the 3s is Shedeur. They refuse, because all of the other people are supposedly hurt. They refuse to push Shedeur out there with his own ones. So today he gets to get out there with the ones. That's malpractice. That's the business part of me that can't ignore this. You're not just setting him up to fail. You're putting him in an impossible situation. That's not how business is conducted. Business has too many rules of compliance and regulation for this. That means the NFL is not even treated like a normal business, which is why they're not treating their employees, their players like employees. They're treating them like chattel. All you have to do is look at the whole Michael Parsons situation. And I know Michael Parsons just learned a valuable lesson. They said Michael Parsons could often be seen palling around with Jerry Jones. I'm like, you should have saw through that. He was setting you up with a false sense of confidence like they did Coach Prime and Shedeur during Super Bowl weekend. So that when it came to negotiations, you'll negotiate with him one-on-one and he would get you, which is why he don't want to talk to Michael Parsons' lawyer. So Michael Parsons didn't see it coming. And he was so much like the Browns fans in his feelings when somebody else said something about the Dallas Cowboys not getting to the Super Bowl. I was like, Michael Parsons, has your contract been signed? And here we are. So now he's treating you. He's treating you like you're nothing. Like, I don't value you. Yes, I'm going to wait to the last minute. No, I don't want to pay you. People calling out Jerry Jones for trying to even negotiate one-on-one with a player when he has representation. Are they going to do something about it? No. So things just get called out and get lost. Seemingly, that's what's happening in Dallas. And that's what people expect to happen in Cleveland. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think Shedeur didn't sign up for this. Myles Garrett said in his interview we're getting ready to take a look at, Myles Garrett, had really nice things to say about, Shedeur. In my opinion, he called out the management. In my opinion, he was basically saying, you can't come in and think you're going to, change things overnight. I felt like that was for Shedeur. And he said a lot of things. I think he was 98% Myles Garrett. I think he was 2% company man. But anybody out of that organization having the courage to stand up for Shedeur and call out the owner for the culture that's been created there. I think they're afraid of him. I'm just gonna say it. So let's take a look at this interview with Myles Garrett for today, where he's standing there shirtless. I'm like, I told y'all they scared of him. He's standing there shirtless, and I think a lot of people probably can't get past the fact that he's shirtless and listen to what he's saying. But I heard what he said. I heard what he said. So let's see which one we have up here first. I bookmarked them all today because it was a lot of them. And I said, okay, I'm going to bookmark them so that, I can share with people everything I want to share today. I want to talk about more than just the one topic in the thumbnail. This is Myles Garrett right here. Let's see.
Takes it seriously, his craft, and he's watching what the others are doing and doing it his own way in which only he can. So, looking forward to see him in these preseason games and how he manages the offense. But I think he looks good, but all the guys look good right now.
Okay, so I'm going to start it over. And we're going to stop and start, and we're going to have to talk about it because that's the rules of the road. All right, so let me get back to the beginning. Again, they're asking Myles Garrett about Shedeur. Flacco did an interview. I didn't listen to it because I feel like Flacco is there for the money. I think he knows he's blocking young talent from coming in and starting, and I think that's exactly what the NFL wants. The NFLs did not want Jaden Daniels to ascend to where he is, which is why you keep hearing people say they're ignoring the fact that he already balled out Offensive Player of the Year, but they want Shedeur to sit because they never anticipated that Jaden Daniels would get as far as he did. So let's just start over, and we're going to talk about it along the way.
I mean, he's funny, he's optimistic, lighthearted, but he works hard. He takes it seriously, his craft, and he's watching what the others are doing and doing it his own way in which only he can. So, looking forward to see him in these preseason games and how he manages the offense. But I think he looks good, but all the guys look good right now. I mean,
so he's basically saying, all the guys look good, but Shedeur's taking it seriously. He's lighthearted, so he's not depressed or anything. Notice he said, I'm glad, I'm interested to see him in the preseason games, this, that, and the other, right? He said the regular season, so he knows Shedeur is going to get out there in the preseason games. Again, I don't know why they're asking Myles Garrett about Shedeur Sanders. I really don't. Shouldn't they be asking about Myles Garrett or somebody? I don't know, but I don't know why they keep asking. Shedeur is a 4th-string QB, and you're asking a starter about a 4th-string QB. That is equivalent to Jimmy Horn Jr., a 6th-round pick, being mic'd up for a game where everybody's watching with the equivalency and the excitement of the damn Super Bowl. Make that make sense, people. But they want to hold them to their draft position, but they want to feature them every moment that they can and ask people about them every waking moment. It makes no sense to me.
He's funny, he's optimistic, lighthearted, but he works hard. He takes it seriously, his craft, and he's watching what the others are doing and doing it his own way in which only he can. So, looking forward to see him in these preseason games and how he manages the offense. But I think he looks good, but all the guys look good right now.
So how he manages the offense, which technically is really what should matter. Well, how he manages the offense. So Myles has basically level set the expectation. They just looking at Shedeur, or he is looking at Shedeur for what? How he manages the offense. He has a longer interview. Go watch it. I wanted y'all to see that they asking about Myles Garrett, that he's standing here shirtless. I said they scared of him. I'm going to stand by it. He's the leader of the team. I told y'all he's the banner. Just like Jimmy Horn Jr. is the face, the banner of the Carolina Panthers, Myles Garrett is the face on the banner of the Browns' social media. They have decided, and they knew when they picked him number 1, before they picked a quarterback out the 2nd round and try to make him the franchise QB and Deshaun Kaiser, they knew Myles Garrett was going to be the face of the league. That's what they want, right? Because they keep ending up with all these black quarterbacks, but that's not who they want to be the face of the league, So remember, Myles Garrett wanted to leave. and he got his money. Maybe they thought that's all he wanted. But the point is he wanted to leave because they weren't good. So this is him in his leadership role. Again, I don't have a problem with this. You can get whoever you want to be the face of the league, but what you don't get is the I guess you could say you don't have the right to hold back Shedeur, set him up to fail, so you can say, see, he trash. Put him in impossible situations, humiliate him, harass him, hold him back because you don't want him to be the face of your team. You don't want him, Shedeur, the best quarterback on your roster, to lead your team. They could have went with a white quarterback to do that, but they don't have no stability at the QB position, period. And they think that that's going to make people look away from how they're treating Shedeur. Oh, they just have a quarterback problem. So basically, you think because you went through 40 quarterbacks that we're going to not see that you're racist when it comes to the black ones. False. We see how you pit the black ones against each other. You don't put the white QBs in an impossible situation. That's why everybody that's not black is not playing in this game. Against the Carolina Panthers ones, they would have not put Dylan out here against the Carolina Panthers ones. His numbers weren't even bad today. He's already had first team reps. They put Shedeur in an impossible situation to go out here and practice against the ones for Carolina. This is when Shedeur gets first team reps, when you playing another team. That's an impossible situation. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, setting him up to fail. That's sabotage. But we still find a way to celebrate Jimmy and Shedeur reuniting. We still find a way, and everybody still wants to see, even though we see Cleveland trying to set him up to fail, people still want to see Shedeur ball out. This will be the most watched preseason game, period. This is the Browns, definitely the Browns' most watched preseason game, probably of all time. This is the most the Browns have been talked about. Again, the guy checks off all of the boxes, but I don't want the black quarterback to lead my team, so I don't want him to be the face of my franchise, so I'm going to suppress him, put him in impossible situations so he don't make it to QB1, because this is not what I want. The Browns got too many I don't want. In Myles' longer interview, he goes on to talk about basically without saying Haslam's name, and I think he might have said Haslam's name. Everybody got to be on the same page. He called out ownership. I said, I'm going to change my profile picture to him for 24 hours. That's what leaders do. He has nothing to lose. His contract is signed. That is the only way you can get past these owners putting a muzzle on you and basically holding you hostage, which is exactly what's happening to Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons can't go nowhere. He showed up to practice without his 11 jersey, but the Cowboys know we're going to fine you $1 million every time you miss a game. So that's just all an act of frustration. But then he's upset when somebody's happy to leave the Cowboys because they're never putting themselves in a position to win. They're not. They're putting themselves in a position to control players. That's it. That's the name of the game. People are like, but didn't you want Shedeur to go to the Cowboys? I'm like, it's still better than Cleveland. Yep. That's just how bad Cleveland is. That Dallas is better. And they might not win nothing. But he will be in Dallas, where he's from. I don't know if he would ever play, but he wouldn't be in Cleveland. Anywhere but Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski shouldn't even have a job. He should be fired. And you know he's doing the owner's bidding because the owner is allowing it. You know the owner is doing the NFL's bidding because the NFL commissioner, who should be the checks and balances, is allowing it. Again, if Chick-fil-A had this kind of mismanagement in any of its franchises, it would be closed immediately. And everybody would be relocated somewhere else or straight up fired, depending on who was in it. But you best believe the manager would be fired. The manager always gets fired because you allowed this to run amok. Kevin Stefanski has created a toxic culture so much that Myles Garrett got to get up here and defend Shedeur and call out the organization for not having everybody on the same page, for saying all of the guys are doing good when they just want to point out that Shedeur isn't, that he needs to learn this, he needs to learn that. No, he doesn't. They don't want another player who's a starter to get out here and work with Shedeur. Myles Garrett did, which is probably why you're not going to see much footage of it. But it is talked about. Myles Garrett got out there and worked with Shedeur with his 11 on 11s today. He didn't have to do that. Remember, they said these guys not playing. So they said the players that are not playing, that are the ones, was supposed to practice today. Shedeur showed up early. Yes, it's raining. But I'm going to tell y'all something. I thought I was going to talk about this tonight, but I kind of knew it was going to come up. Shedeur has been here before. Talking about being set up to fail. So yesterday, and I started to post it last night on X, or early in the wee hours when I'm awake and y'all are likely sleeping across all time zones. I work at night. So last night it came to me. I said, when I found out that they were setting him up to fail, because it had been discussed last night that Shedeur was going to be out there with the 2s and the 3s, right? And that Carolina said they were starting their first team defense. So I said, okay, let me look at this. I'm like, okay, we've been here before. I said, this is starting to feel Nebraska-ish. It is. It's starting to feel Nebraska-ish. Now, remember, we played Nebraska twice, and there were 2 different results. So, of course, I had to go back and look at the game. Colorado football have some damn good cinematic highlights of the 2023 game. If I share it, it'll be tonight. So I'm just going to tell you about it. Okay, so in 2023, Colorado goes to Nebraska. Nebraska come to Colorado. I forgot where we were. But Colorado won that game. And it was by a lot. And they thought we would lose. That was like the second game of the first season for Coach Prime. And HBCU kids couldn't do it, although we had just basically put a BTA on TCU, right? So we win that game. And I remember thinking to myself, who was on the Nebraska team, right? Because did they switch out their whole team? Because in 2024, the result was drastically different. And I remember everybody that saw that game knew that number 9 for Nebraska, everybody said the O-line was afraid of him. Now, we had an O-line player who was the center who was there last year. And again, the right side was problematic, right? I looked at the 2024 game, and instantly, soon as Shedeur snapped the ball, the pocket collapsed and Nebraska got to him. And this went on and on and on. And it wasn't until after halftime that the O-line got it together, even though the coach didn't rotate not one player. The O-line got it together, and Colorado started to come back. But I could see that this was happening intentionally. But it wasn't until overnight, last night, when I looked at both games back to back, not the whole game, but the highlights. Number 9 played 2 years in a row when we played them. The player that they were scared of in 2024 was the same player, number 9, in 2023. His size was the same. He was the same imposing player in year 1 that he was in year 2. I said year 2 was straight up sabotage. I'm going to stand by it. How are you afraid of somebody that was on the roster last year? And I said, okay, we had some new people on the right side. So we're supposed to believe the lights were too bright for them. When they saw number 9, who was on game film all week long, you're watching game film. You didn't know he had an imposing size like Myles Garrett? Of course you did. You gave way. He was on the roster last year. You watched film. You had 2 years worth of film with this guy in it. And you're shocked by him when the whistle blows. Bullshit. Shedeur has been here before. Set up to fail. Whether it's coaching, whether it's players on the line. And I said it. I said, Shedeur is not the person I'm worried about. Louis Riddick said, well, my problem is I'm worried about the reps. I'm like, the reps are not the problem. I'm like, if I'm not mistaken, Coach Prime said they practice the 1s versus the 2s. Shedeur had reps against the first team defense. He's not going to be worried about Carolina's defense. I'm going to tell you who's going to be worried about Carolina's defense. Whatever O-line you put out there. This going to either be like the Nebraska game in 2024, where you have film on people, you can watch who they are, but certain people decide to give way. If you want to say you scared, and you look him in his eye and tell him you did your best, then that's what he gonna do. But the point is, he's played Nebraska twice. And even though being set up and sacked 8 times, he was coming back from that because he figured out the O-line was giving way. He already got the idea that this could happen. He already had a 4-string center mis-snapping the ball. He knows he's being put in an impossible situation. They know he's going to outproduce his draft stock. So instead of being supportive, instead of creating a nurturing, supportive environment for Shedeur, you put him in what you think is an impossible situation because you don't know shit about his time at Colorado because you didn't bother to watch no damn film and have your scouts tell you about it. Or either your scouts did their job and you just threw the damn report into the recycle bin. Shedeur has been here before, set up by the powers that be that control the game, set up by players on the line. Reps don't matter. He shows up early. He stays late. He practices independently. People were like, yeah, I doubt that they go out there and practice with him. I'm like, the guys he throwing with want to make the team. They overlooked the fact that he developed Luke Floria right before their eyes. They don't talk about the fact that Travis, who they think can win Offensive Player of the Year, played with Shedeur for 2 years. They got Travis listed as a wide receiver and not a DB. And all of Shedeur's players were drafted. And sixth round pick Jimmy Horn Jr. is mic'd up. The NFL even posted their reunion. I'm like, y'all love to exploit these players, don't y'all? I'm like, y'all love to exploit these players. And I say, I don't get it, but I'm not an athlete. But then I had to think for a second. I say, these guys are so damn competitive that they refuse to let this league break them. They're not ready to get up and walk away. They find other ways to get revenge. They take the shine when they're in a place where they can't be harmed financially to eloquently say the things that Myles Garrett says. Shedeur is a good QB. He's not bothered. He's going to do well. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing him play in the preseason because he might not be here in the regular season. And yeah, Haslam and we should all be on the same page. Right. That's how you create a supportive environment. They have intentionally created a toxic environment because they're expending all of their energy holding back the best QB on their roster. ESPN Cleveland put out numbers today. I said, y'all could throw this in the trash. I said, this is mere digital toilet paper. I said, Cleveland has rendered the stats that y'all been putting out that showed that Shedeur was the best garbage because he was the best QB on the roster, but they want to still put him at 4th string. So now he got another hurdle to cross. They believe they're putting him in a situation he's never been in. They believe because everybody's going to be watching that he's going to be going against the first team defense for Carolina, which I did see bulldoze one of the O-linemen for Cleveland, that they're somehow going to get him. Well, maybe they're going to finally learn why he and the greats roll back out of the pocket when they see the O-line giving way. Shedeur has legs. They like to say he don't have legs. He's a pure pocket passer. I don't know what the hell you were watching. Anybody sacked 53 times, I'm sorry. Still is the most accurate QB in college, has legs. He wouldn't have been so accurate if he didn't use his legs. If the O-line gave way like that 53 times, some of that was on Shedeur. Sure, maybe 1 or 2. They think they're putting him in an impossible situation. God will not give you anything that you can't bear. Understand this. Shedeur is still on his team because we showed up and God showed out. And it's going to happen again in this game. The predictions are the game will be narrowly close. I forgot who they said to win. I said, why do you think it's going to be close? I said, they're doing just like a Colorado game, undervaluing the quarterback. What I read factored in Shedeur as a starter. What we see, the culture sees, what fans see who rooting for Shedeur, he went from QB4 to QB1 overnight. And it could happen again. The same way it's happening now. Whether they players are truly hurt or whether they pretending to be hurt. The point is, they're not going to be out there. People said Flacco not hurt, but they got him in bubble wrap. That means they know we only got him for a limited amount of time. They would rather play this game. They would rather stitch up, Band-Aid up 3 mediocre quarterbacks than have an elite black QB1 who could take them all away, like Jada Daniels, who's comparable to Pat Mahomes when it comes to extending plays, something they love. Now, somebody shared in the comments that Will Howard, the guy that they sent to Pittsburgh instead of Shedeur, is injured. I'm like, God darn. Vets with all of the issues, dropping like flies, 2% battery lifers, can't hold up. All of the guys in front of Shedeur falling out left and right. Either they not good or they injured. That's what you call God is making the crooked places straight. You thought you was going to hold him back and bury him on the depth chart, and now he got to get out here and play. And it tells me you pissed off about that because Carolina is trying to get ready for the season. They playing the ones against the ones because this is important. We have limited opportunities. You want to put your 4th-string QB out here who hasn't had first-team reps, which means you couldn't anticipate injuries. You want to put him out here against Carolina's first-team defense that's likely had all the development they needed. You want to put your underdeveloped 4th-string QB out here that you know is a QB1 with the 2s and the goddamn 3s. You want to send him out with 2s, 3s, and 4s and receivers that you don't even want on a team that you know are camp bodies. You brought your 1st-stringers with you, but you're not putting them out there so y'all can win this thing and truly develop. You just trying to set Shedeur up to fail. Like I said, they expend all of their time and energy on holding this kid back. And God keep kicking the damn door open. Which is why we are still celebrating when he make a damn completion. Which is why if he scores a touchdown, because again, he ain't the problem. The people they putting him out there with, 2s and 3s, are they going to have hands? Is it going to be Luke Floria or he magically going to disappear? Is it going to be Gage, the one he have a connection with? At least he has chemistry with these guys. But can these 2s and 3s and 4s withstand the pressure? Can the 2s, 3s, and 4s catch and hold on to the ball? Are the 2s, 3s, and 4s going to be intimidated by the size and stature of players like Myles Garrett, 1st string for the Panthers? This ain't on Shedeur. This is not on Shedeur. This is more bullshit from Cleveland. So I applaud Myles Garrett. 98% Myles Garrett, 2% company man. But he did have the courage to hold out and call out the owners. But when is everybody else going to have the damn courage? After talking to fans yesterday who were offended when you say things about the Browns that are true, which is insane, there's no hope there. There's no hope there. There's no hope with the fans. Myles Garrett can only say what he said so many times, so much before they stop talking to him altogether, before they start going in on him. This is about control and submission. I applaud him for standing up there with his shirt off because he know they intimidated by him. He knows this. I know it too. I could see it. All they talk about is his size. That's what they intimidated by. They don't think about these black players as thinking intellectuals. All they talk about is their athletic ability. But when it comes to the quarterback position, they don't even want the athletic ability because they know if they go out there and win, it's a lie to say that black players can't lead at the quarterback position. That's why you better pay attention to what's going on with Jada Daniels this year. They didn't expect that last year. But it's pointed out, Jada Daniels have everything you need. Good coaching, good ownership, good investment partners. Michael, what is it? Magic Johnson. He has a good support system. That's why you hear me use the phrase organizational malpractice when it comes to the Browns, because instead of creating a supportive system, they've created a toxic environment, which is negligence. And we're seeing more of it coming up to the preseason game with the way they have tried to. They think they're going to set up Shedeur. You're not going to set up Shedeur. Like Myles Garrett said, if he's a good game manager, we straight. If the receivers that you put out there that you think not going to even make the team can't hold on with the ball, because you're trying to make Shedeur look bad, which means you are basically using these receivers who you think will fail against Shedeur. Again, the Nebraska game, 2024. Jerry Jones was watching. Signed Dak the next day. Jerry Jones will be watching this game. People expect the trade phone calls to come. I know God gonna swing that door open out of Cleveland. I just don't know when it's gonna be. But I know God don't leave his people nowhere that they not appreciated. It's clear that Cleveland doesn't appreciate him. But while he's there, we get to see the truth. And somebody gonna do something with it. Somebody gonna do something with the organizational malpractice. Yesterday, people were saying when they signed the 6th quarterback, okay, it's time for Cleveland to be investigated. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because that's what is needed. That's what we are. This is malfeasance. Other businesses cannot run like this. Other businesses can't get away with this. The NFL is a corporation. And the hierarchy is supposedly the league itself, which sits atop the owners, the teams, which is how you shield the owners. It's supposed to be a nonprofit. They need to lose that status and start paying some damn taxes. They might be paying taxes now. I think they actually did change because they know they could lose it because of how they conduct business. That's why there's a lawsuit right now against the NFL, but somebody needs to sue Cleveland. That's what needs to happen. Damn, suing the NFL. Somebody already got that. Somebody needs to sue Cleveland. Organizational malpractice, negligence, setting up a toxic environment, and it's all documented. They have no shame, even with one of their players calling them out, saying everybody needs to be on the same page, which means it's chaotic around there. And the players have so much of a muzzle on their mouth by way of their contracts. They can't talk about it. They have clauses that you lose your guarantees if you're being negative. If they try to mess with Myles Garrett after this, they're going to have hell to pay. Because now I got Shedeur and Myles Garrett. If I see them showing up for Shedeur and they start attacking them, because I told y'all I want to see who makes the roster. I want to see if Gage makes it. I already see them trying to put Luke Floria, who Shedeur developed, in front of Deontay Johnson. And they done trashed him verbally. And the one reporter that was doing all the trashing got her coattails pulled, and suddenly she's back. Maybe her family corporation in the media was just too strong for the Browns. Or maybe she can do like Deshaun Watson and say, oh, you must have forgot about this. And they had to put her back out there, which is why every time you hear anything coming out of Cleveland, they put her name on it and tell you where she worked. That's new. She been there 31 years. She was harassing Shedeur. They pushed her out the way, put Daniel Oyefuse out there. Everybody was happy about it. I guess maybe she had to pull out some receipts on what they have asked her to do. Not cutting for her at all. Just pointing out the fact that I noticed everything is circling back to her. And people are saying, Anita told me that she removed some of the verbiage she had about Shedeur cerebral ability not being this, that, and the other. So something's going on. All of these people the Browns have used to attack, hold back these black players, they all have receipts. But they scared to call out the Browns, but they hold the power. Just like that plantation burning in Louisiana, so is the NFL. With Jerry Jones, the way Micah is being treated, Michael Parsons is saying he wants to trade because look how he was treated publicly. No organization's HR would force Michael Parsons to go back to Dallas. They would snatch him out of there quickly before it becomes even more of a liability. People are like, Jerry Jones is basically just older and this, that, and the other. I'm like, there y'all go, making excuses. That's why this league has gotten as far as it has with a whip in their damn hand. The players thinking they getting revenge, but you losing your soul. Now, I can't tell them what to do, but I know somebody better sue Cleveland. I know that. We have seen way too much. Sports attorneys, all these sports attorneys out here, all these litigation type attorneys out here, contract attorneys out here. I don't know why y'all have not even gotten together and sued Cleveland. So I have some other stuff to share. I'm like, bro, it's hard to watch this. I want y'all to know it's hard to watch this for me because I am a business-minded person. I'm like, I cannot look at this knowing how corporations work, knowing how corporations have to be compliant, and just watch this continue to spiral this way. It's difficult, which is why I'm shocked nobody has done anything about it. But I'm learning why the Browns fans not going to stay home. So let me see to get to my next. Hopefully it's Shedeur and Jimmy. Okay, so I think this might be the practice. Let's see what that looks like. So let's see what we're looking at. I see. Okay, that's Cleveland's defense. Oh, is that Jimmy? Was that Jimmy number 15 against number 11? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, y'all. So let's talk about what we're looking at here. Okay, so from what I can see, it looks like the Jaguars have the ball. It looked like the quarterback is 16, which means that's not Bryce Young. Let me know what y'all see, but this is what I see. And Cleveland is on defense. So that means Jimmy, I thought I saw 15 out there with the blue shirt on offense, which should be Jimmy. Let's take a look. Let's see. Yep, that's the QB. Okay. All right. Was that Jimmy? What was that Jimmy that caught the ball? I mean, was that not that caught the ball? So it looks like Jimmy was blocking against the defensive guy. Either that's 15 or 16. That's one of the clips from practice. As you can see, that is not Bryce Young. So that tells me that's the second or third team. Now, I don't know Cleveland. Whoever 0 is for Cleveland on defense, whoever that is he a first string, second string, third string, or fourth string player? So we trying to get a handle on. It looks like this is the second or third string because Jimmy's third string. If that's Jimmy Horn Jr., that's out there on offense, Jimmy's third string. So that's their third string QB against Cleveland's, I don't know, a mixed bag. Whoever 0 is for Cleveland, whatever string he play on, that's what that is. So we're going to watch that one more time and then we'll move on. Because I'm really trying to see if that is Jimmy. Okay, let's see. I think it says 16. Oh, you know what? I know how I could tell. Look at the shoes. The shoes will tell me who it is because I think Jimmy got on Coach Prime's shoes. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna see what y'all saying in the comments. Okay, so maybe that is Jimmy. All right, so we're gonna move on. That's just a clip from their practice. Like I said, I have several today, so we're gonna go over another one. All right. All right, let's see if I can get it. And we have bookmarks. Okay. All right. So it said that was Tony Brown intercepts Andy Dalton in 11 on 11s. Okay. So that was Tony Brown. Okay. And Andy Dalton is not the starter. So that wasn't their ones. The question is being asked by ESPN Cleveland, which is also gutsy. Did the Browns prepare Shedeur to start? The answer is no, but Shedeur is Shedeur. And there are a few people in Cleveland who understand that when the lights come on, Shedeur is going to turn into that guy. Now, basically, what they were trying to say is that maybe in practice, he wasn't the guy to Cleveland, but when you turn the lights on, he's that guy. I disagree. I don't think Shedeur is a poor practice player. I think he's a good practice player. I think Cleveland was lying about him. Again, organizational malpractice. I think Cleveland was intentionally downplaying Shedeur's progress because they knew the numbers were good. So what they were trying to do was say that you didn't see he didn't get the play right, or he can't read the plays, or he's slow to learn the playbook. I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any of that. I think that they were lying because the numbers were good. So they want to say cerebrally he's not there. A stereotype, a persistent stereotype that they use against black quarterbacks. Again, organizational malpractice, negligence, we've already proven. Discrimination, it's out there. It's documented. So this is Shedeur and Jimmy. I don't think there's any audio to this. Let me double check. There's no audio to this. There is music in the background sometimes, so you have to kind of be careful with that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there's any sound here. Okay, so this is them, walking up and talking to each other. This is the one I saw first, and I noticed, Shedeur taking the opportunity to walk up. You know how fast he walking so he could hurry up and get to Jimmy. And then there's Jimmy. And they do that little hug. They did that at CU, around CU Pro Day. These two were going to the same team together. I think Shedeur was going to bring Jimmy with him, like Cam Ward brought Restrepo with him to Tennessee. But it's funny how they exploit both of these two. Jimmy is a six round pick. You put him third on the third string. He third on the third string, and he's mic'd up. So much so that you see Jimmy backing away from Shedeur, basically trying to tell him I'm mic'd up, and he does tell him, and then they just go back their other ways. So they were talking about twins. Shedeur heard what he said when he said he was mic'd up, but it's funny why they got him mic'd up today. I you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't exploit Shedeur for clicks and market him to make money off of him. Like, he's not your slave. You can't do that. But you devalue him in his worth. You devalue him financially. He's not a slave. And I was listening to people talk early on ESPN, and they said when it came to Michael Parsons, the players hate the fact that sometimes the owners treat them like they own them. They hate, because you can't say it out loud, but I can treat you like that. And that's what we're seeing. I maybe can't say that I own you, but they treat a 6th round pick and a 5th round pick being marketed this way, being marketed, and used to make money off of this way. But then they're mistreated. They're not your property. Again, organizational malpractice. Okay, discrimination. Check that box off too, because there's a lot that goes with this. Everything is documented because of the day and age we live in. They can't get away from it. And that's why I don't understand why nobody has done it yet. But sometimes when you want to do something, you got to, you want something done right. Sometimes you got to do it yourself. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point. So let's see what else we have. So I was waiting for this moment. I'm just going to be honest. I was waiting for this moment because I knew, they would somehow get to each other. I didn't know. I didn't think about the practice. Again, I don't live and breathe this content. So, I was happy to see this. And I know Coach Prime, he posted it. He was happy to see it. And they both wearing their primes. They both wearing Coach Prime's shoe. I don't know what these are called. So if y'all know what these are called, let me know. It looked like Jimmy got on the lows of the shoe and Shedeur got on the mids or the highs or something like that. One has red and one has black. So yeah, you see how fast Shedeur was walking to get over there. Look at that. He walked away. He like, let me hurry up and get to my guy. And then Jimmy came over. I didn't realize the height difference was that much. Wow. Okay. And size too. But Jimmy's twitching, he fast. So maybe that's best for that. So yeah, loved it. So that's my guys. I was happy to see them get together and play. So let's see what else we have. Because I told you I put all of this stuff together to see if we could kind of hurry up and look at it. All right. So that's that one. That's Shedeur. This is what everybody want to see. When it is time, when Shedeur scores, I don't care how he get there. I don't care if it's a tush push. I don't care if he run it in or one of the, receivers catch the ball. We definitely going to see wrist up. We definitely going to see the Shedeur. So, now look at this. I wanted y'all to see this. Because this is crazy to me. Hold on one second. Okay. This is somebody named David Newton. Look at the picture. This is Jimmy Horn Jr. in the picture. This is Jimmy Horn Jr. in the picture, right? Now, this is a reporter who I checked. He is specific to Carolina. He reports on the Carolina Panthers. He doesn't report on the Cleveland Browns. So when you go to his page, he has all of Carolina's content, which means he knows that this is Jimmy Horn Jr. It says, McMillan continues to be a big target for Bryce Young. That's number 4. That's Tet. That was drafted in the first round out of Arizona, who we played, by the way. Colorado played Arizona, and Colorado won that game. It said 2025 Carolina Panthers training camp. Latest intel, yada, yada, yada. Why is Jimmy Horn Jr. in this photo when we talking about Tet? This is what I was trying to say yesterday, that you would think this young man was their first round pick. It said what we're hearing and seeing at Panthers training camp is the Jimmy Horn Jr. show. So it's the Jimmy Horn Jr. show. You're talking about Tet, but you have Jimmy in the photo, which means Jimmy is better than a 6th round pick. He was supposed to be a top 10 receiver to go in the draft. You devalued him too. Now we can get into it. We can get into it because after Shedeur was drafted late, the rest of the receivers went through too. Now that's not a coincidence, but they all were collateral damage in the process. They probably weren't intended to be harmed. However, if that's how it goes, if Shedeur had never gotten drafted, doesn't sound like they was going to get drafted either. Again, now that's a big problem. That's an NFL problem because the NFL owns the draft. That's the owner's problem because the owners pick who they want on their teams. They decide who they're going to pay. Now, the lawsuit that's out there, it speaks to this. It speaks to this type of the way you conduct business, how you evaluate players. They don't. They throw out the stats, which means the Combine, the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, pro days, and top 30 visits or what, top 30 visits. None of it matters. Just like in Cleveland, the stats don't matter because Shedeur proved to be the best. What's playing out in Cleveland is just the draft all over again. Devaluing the best player intentionally. That's why somebody needs to sue Cleveland. People say investigate, just sue them. It's documented. It's documented. So I just wanted y'all to see that Jimmy is still the face of the Cleveland Panthers. The Carolina Panthers. Even though he's a 6th round pick, they have him mic'd up. They talking about it. It's the Jimmy Horn Jr. show in training camp. They talking about McMillan in the caption, but I'm looking at Jimmy. That's it. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I was talking about yesterday. That you would have thought that it was shocking for him to be on. It was totally shocking for him to be 3rd string with them featuring him that way. That's what I mean by it's just, to me, it seems like further exploitation. It is not just of Shedeur. That's basically what I'm saying. So, I just wanted to share this with y'all because I just feel like this is hard to deal with, but this is what we got to deal with. This is why I think the door will swing wide open for Shedeur. I just believe that it'll be when we have enough information. Because sometimes we think, okay, we see what's going on here, right? Sometimes we think we know what's going on here, but then what happens? Something else happened. I'm like, God damn, y'all don't know when to quit. Y'all just going to keep going on and on. I'm like, well, fine. We just going to have to just grin and bear it and cheer for our guys while we learn what we need to know to hold Cleveland accountable. Notice I said Cleveland. Cleveland. Yeah. Cleveland needs to be investigated. Cleveland is guilty of organizational malpractice. It's not just the NFL. Cleveland is setting its players up to fail. Not just Shedeur, Tyler Huntley. Bringing him in 24 hours ago when he didn't play for them and they lying, talking about he was with us last year. That's just a cute way of trying to make us think he was around and should know the plays. No, throwing him into the fire. He don't even know the players. Training camp is supposed to be about building chemistry with the team. That's a part of it. How you going to build chemistry and go out here and play and you just got the playbook and you don't know the players? That's setting people up to fail. They would never do that to Dylan, which is why he on the damn sideline. They would never put Dylan out here against the ones. Well, let's see what they do against Philadelphia. Because I'm going to tell you, if I go out here and win this, I don't know if I want to play against Philly. Maybe just let your other guys play so I can be good. But he's not gonna do that. He a good dude. He's an athlete. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Because I see you trying to use me. But again, these are athletes. They are competitive. They're not going to let nobody take them down. They're not going to let nobody break them. And I applaud them for that. But, and I get it. Y'all can't hold them accountable. Your contracts are too restrictive. Arbitration is your only way out. The Players Association colludes with the owners. The Browns fans ain't going to do shit. So, it's just somebody just got to sue. That's it, because I don't know if an individual person can just launch an investigation and seemingly nobody else is going to do it. So, a lawsuit for organizational malpractice, negligence, and discrimination is the only way. It's the only way. That's the conclusion we have come to. It's the only way. So, I just, want to share this with y'all today. Our guys are together. They reunited. We're going to be happy about the game. Shedeur has been here before. Nebraska 2024. Before I actually went live, I was still trying to figure out which Nebraska it was going to be. 2023. But then I'm like, oh, okay, he being set up. So it's going to be Nebraska 2024. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch Colorado versus Nebraska 2024. And then go watch Colorado versus Nebraska 2023. The same players are out there on the line for defense for Nebraska. The one that everybody was supposed to be afraid of in 2023. Like they didn't see no film. So let me get in here and see what y'all saying about all of this. So I'm not worried about the lack of reps. Shedeur was built for this. Shedeur was prepared for this, built for this in his DNA. His father, the way he raised him, he's resilient. He's tough. He is intelligent. He has one of the best football IQs around, they say. He's been here before. So Shedeur gonna be good. Shedeur gonna be good. So I'll be tuning out all media. I don't care if it's the national media concerned about reps or if it's, I don't listen to Browns local media, or if it's any podcasters concerned about reps. I'm not worried about it. I would expect podcasters to start talking about how Shedeur was built for this. And this is not a problem for Shedeur. That Shedeur can shine. His goal is to be a good game manager. And he been set up to fail because they put him out there with the 2s, 3s, and the 4s. And we don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to the ball. We don't know if they're going to be intimidated. We don't know if they were prepared for this. We don't know about other people. Right? We don't know about other people. But we know Shedeur is good. He's good. Hey, Amber, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Jackie said, hey, fam, watching Shedeur and Jimmy hug each other was a pure tearjerker moment. Yes, it was. It said the prime effect. They were so happy to see each other. Yes. Yes. That's why I'm like, you know what? Y'all not finna steal our joy. I'm going to tune all of y'all out because y'all all should know that this young man was built for this. And this is them trying to set him up to fail. And instead of talking about Shedeur and go talk about hold Cleveland accountable. If you have a microphone and you call yourself a reporter or journalist, start your investigation and start talking about that on a daily. It's enough out there to keep you talking 24/7. Shedeur damn near ran the Jimmy. He did. He was like, I'm finna get over here. And see, that's why they don't like him. They want him to ask permission to walk and speak. That's what they want. They want total control, total domination. This is not the slave era. It's just not. And slaves revolted. So, why are you trying to do something that ended, that wasn't successful, and you still trying it? Because this is what you think you could do. Getting into the sport of football because you want to control black bodies is criminal. The Browns linemen look a mess against Carolina. Yes, that's why I said it ain't on Shedeur, Amber. Shedeur good. We know his numbers. That's why they tossed him out, because they know he's good. Yep, he got to get into the cut. It said, I saw them back up also. I thought it was because of the media following them. Thanks for clearing this up. Yeah, it was because Jimmy was like, I'm mic'd up. And in case y'all don't know, Jimmy was mic'd up in practice in Carolina when they first got there, a little bit after they first got there. And he didn't tell his coach he was mic'd up. So they supposedly fined him. And his coach was like, why you ain't tell me you was mic'd up? And he told my he didn't know. He figured, well, hell, they mic me up. I figure And it was like he was going to find Jimmy. And Jimmy was like, how much you going to find me, coach? I was like, I hope they was joking. I hope they were joking. So when I realized that he was telling him he's mic'd up, that's why he was backing away. Because now he just tell everybody why they got him mic'd up like that. The same reason they talking about Ted, but Jimmy is on the photo. That's crazy. It said that coaching line is definitely incompetent. Right. They not developing these players, bro. They just like went to the draft. You know what? Let's act like we're gonna get Shedeur. Then they cut him like bait. Then they go to the draft and they get forced into drafting him. They pissed off about it. So now they trying to take it out on him. Did he force you to draft him? Maybe you need to be calling up 47 of the New York Giants. Shedeur didn't ask to go to Cleveland. Cleveland said they want to get Shedeur as their franchise QB. So they need to get over themselves. So yeah, when I saw the line for the Jacksonville Jaguars dominate Cleveland, I said, oh, it's gonna be the Nebraska 2024 game. That's when I realized, because I didn't know which Nebraska until I saw that. I said, oh, okay, it's gonna be the 2024 game. Shedeur gonna be good. He gonna be good. And did y'all see what Coach Prime posted 2 days ago? Let me see if I can share it. I posted it on the community for YouTube. So let's see if I can share it here with y'all. 2 days ago. Now keep this in mind. I told y'all Coach Prime does not post anything in vain, and it always means something, and we don't typically know what it's going to mean until it's time. So remember this context 2 days ago. All right, let's see. Okay, here it is. Let me get myself over here. Okay. All right. It says 2 days ago, be careful of your surroundings, your company, your confidence, and family. Everyone that's in your life came with a motive, positive or negative, but rest assured they came with a motive. This is time for evaluation because you're chosen. Take heed. 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I think Shedeur was out with arm soreness or had just come back from arm soreness. Let's see. Today is day 2. So when I read this, I was like, and again, the Nebraska thing was I had already gone down that path. And I was like, because when I posted this, it was 1 day ago. I posted this in the wee hours. So when I read it, it was 1 day ago. When I posted it, it was 2 days ago. So this is day 2. So this was yesterday. Or probably yesterday late. So you tell me what this means to you. And it could mean a lot of things. But in the context of what's going on with Shedeur, knowing that they setting him up to fail, knowing that he's QB1 from QB4 to QB1 overnight, they don't like that because they were forced into it, which is why they're still making it more difficult. If you don't want him because you feel like you were forced to draft him, then trade him. But it would have been more negligence for them not to let him play at all, because what they were going to try to do is what they did to Huntley. Oh, we can't find a suitable trade partner. Huntley and Shedeur are not the same person, but they still don't get the memo that they can't just do anything to this kid. And the way Michael Parsons is being treated, it should tell you what kind of players they're looking for. So, let's see. All right, so I'm going back to the comments so I could see what y'all thinking about all of this that I shared. Let's see, we were in the middle of talking about something else. I'm going to leave that on the screen because I think it's important. Again, Coach Prime posts nothing in vain, and it normally has to do with something else. So, so the Browns lineman did look bad. It said the coaching line is definitely incompetent, right? So, again, think about what we just read and think about what Swansley is saying. It's on the screen. It said, I didn't like the O-line when Panthers defensive back, the big guy, just slightly pushed him aside, and the Browns guy was swept aside. I don't think the Browns O-line is going to protect Shedeur. Again, look at what's on the screen. Think about the context of the message. Think about, I was trying to decipher if we getting ready to see Nebraska 2023, the one we actually won the game when we had an O-line, against the same players in 2024, and they act like they didn't know this guy was on the team. That's how I knew. I said, it's fraud. I'm like, they set this kid up. I think in the second quarter, he was sacked almost 8 times. He was almost sacked off the rip, bro. They snapped the ball and the line just caved. Babies could have had put up more of a fight. BJ Riggs, I saw that. I was like, oh, geez. Yep. It said my ex was a 4th round pick and played 11 seasons. Round pick should not determine the player's value. And here's the thing, it doesn't. But when it comes to the players they want to weaponize it against, that's what they stand behind. A player's skill set is not determined by an arbitrary 5th round. You can put a salary to that pick, but you can't say because we drafted you in the 5th, you're not good. No, that's an assumption that the draft is on the up and up and isn't laced with malfeasance and devaluation. Of course it is. And it's not new. It's documented. The NFL devalues badly black quarterbacks in the draft. The media should not be going along with this. That's why it's not enough for the Browns fans, because they should be the last stop. But I see that's not going to happen now. I see Colorado fans who were listening to what some of the Browns fans were saying have come to the conclusion that they are completely biased against Shedeur. And even though they sick and tired of their situation, they not open to another quarterback coming in. They just gonna treat them all like they treat Shedeur. Well, we didn't have good quarterbacks in the past, so we don't know. I'm like, huh? Where the hell is the critical thinking at? I'm like, you ought to get to know the quarterback for yourself. That's the piece that's missing. They want to listen to the people that we have tuned out. I'm like, you know what? See, I'm smart enough to know when to walk away. So I didn't go back there. And I'm not even curious. They chose him to punish him. There you go. And that's what people don't want to admit. That's what people don't want to admit. They directed his steps. They want to play God. That's what Shedeur said. They directed his steps to be pigeonholed, taken off the board so no other teams could get him, which is why no other teams are calling for him to trade, because he's good, because they want to be the ones to string him up to a tree and lash him. What did I say when I started this podcast? What is the goal? If you can say that Shedeur Sanders, a 5th round pick, will outproduce his draft stock, Andrew Berry, which means he's going to elevate, but you do everything conceivable to hold him back. And everything unimaginable that we can't see is what you're thinking of, because you're not getting away with it in the public. So you have to do it behind closed doors. So in this game, they're setting him up to fail. But we've seen God open the door for Shedeur 3 times. The draft, he wasn't supposed to get drafted. They wanted to humiliate him as an undrafted pick, and they were going to let his receivers fester, which means they're willing to hurt other people in the process. The 2s, 3s, and 4s that they putting out there, they know this ain't right. How the hell you gonna put us out here against day ones? How we gonna get better if you don't develop us? All you do is push Shedeur out here and make him redo the play because you want to prove that as a black QB, he doesn't have the mental capacity. You want to keep practicing race norming. They even said Jerry Jones trying to take it back to 1996. Jerry Jones. I said in the NFL trying to go back to 1920 with these black quarterbacks. You can't ban them in 2025, but you sure can make their life hell. And that's what they're doing with Shedeur. They're doing it with others too, but we don't do deep dives with everybody else. But I've talked about it enough. 16, 17, and 18. But Shedeur is 17 to 32. BJ said, this is madness. I don't want him to get hurt. There are 2s and 3s against the 1s. I will say this. He know how to get the hell out the way and do something with that ball. It says, sis, all they going to do is run the ball and eliminate the pass. That's probably what they're going to do. Somebody said Carolina going to put their 1s out there for 12 snaps and that Cleveland has already planned to do a run-heavy offense, which means they going to restrict Shedeur from being the guy that we saw in practice. I don't give a damn how they score. If he the quarterback and he score, it's going up. It's going up. But the point is, they're not developing their players. They're not developing Huntley. They're forcing Huntley out here with the ones. He don't even know the fours. This is crazy. Like, this is madness. And then, yes, they're both black. I said, don't get lost on it. Don't get lost on it. It's time to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it, bro. This is straight up racism. This is in your face with it. They are being bold with it. And obviously, there are people to call them out. I don't matter. My channel's small. I don't work for the big box networks. And if I did, I couldn't even say this. Listening to them is like coloring in a stencil. I can only say what fits in the open parts of the stencil. Everything around it, take the word racism and make it broad. Just take it and put it on a table, on a white paper, and just sketch the word racism and take a small stencil that has a square and put it over this big conversation with racism. And all you can do is talk about is what's in the square. I'm like, this is killing my brain. I can't have conversations like this. I'm like, I have to have real conversations. So that will never be a channel for me, which is why I never considered it. But it's definitely not going to be one. So I can't listen to that. I have to have real conversations with real people with real intent. Cleveland Browns was mad because Deion was talking about the Browns when he said Shedeur was not going to just any team. They took it personal, and this is the get back. Nope, that's New York. New York got their feelings hurt, but they was going to do that anyway. Cleveland didn't have a problem with Shedeur because Andrew Berry even came out, is somewhere on video. Yeah, we don't have a problem with Coach Prime. Cleveland So, okay, I want you to picture this scene. The New York Giants are a bunch of bullies pushing Shedeur down, kicking on him. Then you got the Cleveland Browns to come along and seemingly rescue him. Oh no, we want to get you. We love you. We love your dad. We don't see him as a problem. We pre-draft with you extensively. But the moment Jacksonville comes, hey, let me get that pick. All right, cool. And then you have Haslam who goes out and says, we took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson, which means they scapegoated Deshaun Watson and threw him under the bus to block Shedeur. But then they were like, all right, don't say nothing. We still going to go to CU. So they go to CU Pro Day about 30 days later. Yeah, let's go ahead and invite Travis. So, yeah, we think we want to get Travis and Shedeur. We think y'all would really, really fit in our offense. Meanwhile, they all here in the back of their minds. Y'all know y'all gave that pick away. They were never serious about Travis and Shedeur coming there. They were never serious about Shedeur coming there. If so, why the hell they so upset that they got him for $4 million? They not trying to capitalize off of him. They are willing to release him and say he's untradeable. Put him on waivers and let him clear it. Nobody else is calling. So maybe they're going to treat him like they did Huntley. And a year later, we're going to ask you to come and be a camp body. To put Huntley out there. And you're shocked that the offense had mistakes. He don't even know them. This ain't just Shedeur. This is black quarterbacks. This is black quarterbacks. Huntley coming into the equation. And look, they're not even willing to put Dylan out there so he can look bad. So they went and got Huntley so he can look bad. And they thought Shedeur was going to be shaking in his boots. Cleveland Browns, yeah. So no, that wasn't Cleveland that was mad. Cleveland was playing in Shedeur's face the whole time, making him think that they're not like New York. Now New York in the season is like, yeah, we're not like Cleveland. I'm like, they all in on it, bro. That's why nobody is calling. They're all in on it. They're all in on it. Every last one of them. The Browns, the Saints, and the Giants were all in on it because none of them want a black quarterback to lead their team to any sort of win. They know these players are good. That's just what they don't want. So no, the Browns played when they both played good cop, bad cop. With the Giants being the bad cop and Shedeur seemingly being relieved. Look at what people said when Shedeur got drafted. Oh, the owner liked Coach Prime. Oh, the owner liked Shedeur. He was the owner's pick. The owner told you. You think he didn't hear that? He wasn't my pick. He wasn't nobody's pick. Nobody's. Nobody's. He was forced there, and they pissed off about it because their whole goal is to control the situation. We played in your face. Imagine playing somebody. Imagine playing somebody, laughing behind the scenes, robbing them of all their money, and suddenly you have to be with them every single day. That eats at you. If you don't know what guilt feels like, look at people, how they act when they're guilty. So Cleveland was playing good cop while the Giants played bad cop, but they were all in on it. That's why nobody's calling. Deshaun was talking to Shedeur this morning. Good. Good. He has a good, how should I say it? He has a good support group of the other quarterbacks because they went through it. Russell Wilson, Deshaun. They said they did this to Deshaun. They did the same thing to Russell Wilson when he got drafted. I haven't had time to go look at it. Now I got to go look at it. They said, I hope Shedeur balls out in training camp like Russell Wilson did, because they probably did the same thing to him. I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me. It just wouldn't surprise me. I heard that Myles said also, but that shirtless. Sonya got caught up on the shirtless Myles Garrett. It said, y'all got to cool off. Oh, that's hilarious. It's that the NFL keep recycling the old QBs to give them millions and block the younger guys. They don't want these young black QBs who are taking over at the starting position to start and win. They don't want that. That's their worst nightmare. If you go back to 1920, that's their worst nightmare. They banned black NFL players from becoming quarterbacks. They have not changed their mentality. The same tactics they're using today, they used in 1968. Because only reason they can't ban them is because this is 2025. You can't ban them, so I'm going to make your life hell. I'm going to block you any way I can. And that's what the draft was about. They knew this was the year that young black QBs coming into the draft would take over and become the majority. They already know that white starting quarterbacks are minority. Look at how they holding on to Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. Look at how they protecting Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. Look at how they let Aaron Rodgers block Shedeur. Look at how they're using Flacco to block Shedeur. Look at how they were making Cam compete. Look at how they just totally ignore Milroe, because 3 quarterbacks were supposed to go to 3 teams in the first round this year. 3 quarterbacks that were black got drafted to 3 teams last year and the year before. It's a trend. If every year I have 3 quarterbacks who are inherent QB1s drafted in the first round, but within the next 5 years, they all going to be black. So this was their attempt to stop it in the draft, and they succeeded, which is why Cleveland is doing the same thing that was done to Shedeur in the draft in Cleveland, because they feel like they got away with it. But it's not working because all these QBs are dropping like flies. The 2% battery lifers are doing what 2% battery lifers do, burn out. The young guys are either not good or injured. And they still gonna try it. So Friday is where we see, since Shedeur has been prepared for this, he's been in this situation before. Hopefully he comes away victorious, and then it's going to be on to what they're going to try to stop him from next. Hopefully this is it, and he gets traded. But again, nobody's calling right now. The same reason nobody else was trying to draft him. So, that's just what it is. They would have done better asking Flacco. Myles is on defense with the ones. Yeah, I don't know why they asking other people about Shedeur. That tells me that you know exactly who he is. The things I have heard them say. He's going to outproduce his draft stock. You know he's not a 5th round pick, but you're trying to relegate him to it. You're trying to humiliate him. That's the goal. Like I said, the longer Shedeur is there, the more comes out, more the truth comes out, the dots connect. And it just builds a stronger case for organizational malpractice against Cleveland. Somebody already taken on the NFL. Somebody going to take on Cleveland. Stefanski going to call some BS plays. Right. People are saying he just going to make Shedeur pass the ball off. Whatever, long as they score. NFL want the ratings they received during the draft That's why Jimmy up and Shedeur starting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think they'll want it. I think they'll capitalize off of it. They don't want it. They do everything to stop it, and it still happens. So since it happens, I'm going to exploit you. They don't want it, but they can't stop it. So I'm going to just use you. But they didn't set it up to be used that way. Shedeur was not going to play in this game until, I'm telling you, social media was on fire. And understands that there are people behind the scenes making phone calls. There are people watching this. Some people just want to see how far they're going to go to expose themselves. They're exposing themselves in the process. That's why I said, Shedeur, just stay there until God open the door. And we're going to have everything we need on Cleveland. Shedeur is definitely a master engineer. In fact, Jimmy Horn Jr., he let Shedeur know he was wired up. So Shedeur didn't say anything, right? Because what did Shedeur say? He had been talking to the other NFL players for the Buffs. So you know him and Jimmy talk. So Jimmy is that guy. Like I said, he was like, that's why I was like, why he backing away? I said, oh, that's why. He like, yeah, I don't want him to say nothing. But you see how Shedeur made a beeline over there. He was going to get to Jimmy and say hi. So I'm happy for that. The Browns drafted Shedeur to sit him and make sure he gets no shine. Facts. I am hoping he goes off Friday to shift the narrative and put pressure on the Browns to end this BS revenge plot. It's not going to end it, but I agree with you. I think he's going to be victorious. Why? There was a reason why I'm looking at both of the Nebraskas. The second Nebraska game in the second half, when Shedeur figured out what was going on, Colorado started to catch back up. But of course, there's only so many minutes in the game. He was surprised in the Nebraska game. People said you could see it in his face. He looking at the O-line like, what the hell wrong with y'all? Straight up sabotage. I have no problem with saying it. I did 2 videos on it. He knows what to expect. That prepared him for this. Believe me. He's not going to be surprised if the center missnaps the ball because the center and Myles Garrett already worked together with Shedeur. Shedeur asked Myles Garrett. Myles like, you need pass rush? What you need? Myles Garrett is showing the Browns, I'm not going to be y'all's toy. Yeah, I still got to work here. That's the 2%. But no, he good. They all good. But we all need to be on the same page. You know. When Shedeur was at the combine, and I've said this before, and he said out loud one thing, they heard something else. When he said, if you don't want to change the culture or the coaching, don't draft me. He wants to be a change maker, something he's been and that he can be for Cleveland, which is a good. But see, they little racist ears heard something else. They little racist ears, oh, he think he can control this situation. See, that's their problem. They not playing football. They playing a dangerous game that was outlawed and abolished and has an amendment to prevent it from ever happening again. And sure, they found a loophole and they use it in the prison system. And one owner with the Texans already said what? We can't have the inmates running the prison. That's the game they're playing. How is an inmate, the way they see Shedeur Sanders, which is why I said if they got handcuffs on him, which is why I said this is intentional, this language intent, that's how they think. We can't have the inmates running the prison. So for Shedeur, who they see as an inmate, and they see it that way because their contracts are restrictive, they have no choice. We don't own you, but this is a prison. We have essentially imprisoned you. We have imprisoned your mind. We have hit you in the pocketbooks. You can't ask for a trade and it work out. Dallas is like, we ain't worried about Myles Garrett saying he leaving because we know he can't. Prisoners can't just get up and leave jail, can they? No. They're treating them like prisoners. So when Shedeur said, don't draft me if you don't want to change the culture, if you don't want to change the coaching. In other words, if you don't want to get better. I want to work to get better. Let's work together. What did he say when they called him and he thought that was the Saints? Let's work. They were offended because they're like, how dare a prisoner think he gonna run anything in this prison? Shedeur didn't know what he was saying, but I don't know why. I don't, because Coach Prime was in that prison too. So I'm totally lost. I think part of it is they were lured in Super Bowl weekend, but part of it is also because it appeared, right, that they were being treated differently. Coach Prime was one of the few black guys to be on. Hell, I didn't even know he was on the NFL Network till last night. Somebody had me watching old footage of the NFL Network with Shannon Sharp and Coach Prime. I was like, I didn't even know they was on there. I didn't. I'm like, damn, that says a lot. I'm like, he was on the NFL Network? And the same NFL Network trashed the hell out of Shedeur. The same NFL Network was just offloaded to ESPN after Discovery was requested. Don't get lost on that. It's like a divorced couple going through a divorce and one of them hides their assets. Why do people do that? Because there's something there. Coach Prime worked for the NFL Network for 10, 12, 17, 18 years, and they trashed the hell out of Shedeur. They were aggressive with it. So I'm not shocked that after Discovery was requested, they offloaded it so that Discovery won't be in scope. But I don't know, because Shedeur said, I knew my dad went through a lot. I don't know how he didn't know that the way they view NFL players is like prisoners. Their contracts even speak to it. I said it's like they have a muzzle on their mouth. It's like they're inmates. That's how they think. So when they heard him say that, they said he was entitled. That's all they could say. They couldn't repeat what was already said. We can't have the inmates running a prison, but I bet if that Discovery ever gets publicized, that language will be there. The language will be in the Discovery. And if they could get what they have from the NFL Network, even though it was offloaded, if they can include it in scope because the lawsuit had already been presented, it's something there. They worked too hard to smear Shedeur's reputation. It said, I had this earlier with you and Myles and Flacco. Them Cleveland fans were talking crazy about 12, but I did check them that Cleveland is a trash organization alone. Their weird fan base. Yeah, I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. The host came back and he was just, he DMs or whatever, and I just said that was hilarious. He sent me like a screenshot or something, and I just laughed at it or whatever. I mean, my feelings ain't hurt because y'all offended. I'm like, how are you offended by a team that don't care shit about you? That's about to try to snatch the team out the city. Don't care what y'all think and take the name, and it's not going to even be in Cleveland. Who don't care that y'all show up? Who exploiting your loyalty the same way the Carolina Panthers exploiting Jimmy, the same way the NFL exploiting all CU players? And you offended? I said, now you know why they showed up week after week to watch Deshaun Kaiser go 0-15. Part of the problem. They feelings hurt that the Browns being talked about. They've been doing this since slavery. That's how we got boxing. Oh, okay. All right. We're going to have to go down that path one day, but okay. That's interesting. Thank you for that insight. Haru said the Browns are definitely racist, but it's about trying to humble Sanders. It's not about Shedeur. I hate to tell you, Haru, you got to expand. You got to look at the bigger picture, boo. This is happening to all of them. This is not about trying to humble Shedeur. This is about making sure all black quarterbacks in the NFL and the ones that's coming to it understand that we cannot have inmates running the prison. This ain't about Shedeur. The moment people expand their mindset and look at the bigger picture and realize this is happening to everybody already in the NFL, that's a black quarterback. What sits at stake? White quarterbacks that start becoming the minority. Then the 2% battery lifers that they holding on to for dear life that they likely going to lose with are the ones that they trying to keep in front of who? In front of what fans want to see Rodgers? What fans want to see Flacco? The ones in the nursing home? Because the younger generation want to win. The younger generation not even appealing to the NFL. And their interest group is really blacks and Hispanics for obvious reasons. Who playing the damn game? And that's a problem for them too. It's slipping through their fingers. So they trying to pump the brakes. Imagine an 18-wheeler barreling down a highway at 100 miles an hour with the trailer just jumping up and down. The moment before it just crashes and just disassembles and fall apart, or the plantation burning in Louisiana. But you got to update it. This is about them not allowing who they see, the players, as inmates to run the prison. That came from what? An NFL owner, not a GM, an owner. That's what their problem is. So they're trying to suppress Shedeur, suppress Cam, suppress Miro. It's not just about Shedeur. Shedeur was the one who was chosen at number 17 because the story, Coach Prime, didn't work with anybody else. You couldn't have done, if Shedeur had gone at 16, how you going to hold back Cam at 17? 16 black starting quarterbacks emerged. But 17, they wasn't having it. It wasn't going to work with Cam. What the story was going to be. It wasn't going to work with Miro. What was the story going to be? The story was Coach Prime. They scapegoated Deshaun Watson against Shedeur. They scapegoated his own dad just to take his son down and blame the dad for it. And the players were collateral damage. It's not just about Shedeur. But the Browns keep doing it, so we're going to make it about Cleveland. The Browns are definitely out there. Yep, it says Shedeur is prepared. 98%. The game is mental. I'm going to give him 100. I'm going to give him 100. His experience at CU, Shedeur, did you see him looking worried when he was running? He just wanted to go over there and talk to Jimmy. Shedeur is not worried about this game. If you have never watched Shedeur play, even a Browns podcaster, not media, but a podcaster said it. There's just something about Shedeur at game time when the lights come on, and he likened him to his dad. The only issue I took with it is that he said some guys aren't practice guys. And I'm like, are you alluding to the fact that Shedeur wasn't good in practice, but he's going to be good at the game? Shedeur balled out in practice, even though they chose to ignore the numbers. And the way they chose to ignore the stats in practice is how they chose to ignore the stats that they use to rank these players to determine who's the best. They want to throw all of the stats and analysis and performance and film out the window. They want to throw all of that out the window and do what the hell they want to do. And that's where they're going to be in trouble. That's why, to me, they're trying to get their ducks in a row. So, it say absolutely. Yeah, Shedeur. Yeah, it's still my wish. I said yesterday, my expectation for Shedeur, win or lose, I don't give a damn. Let's get the hell out of Cleveland. But I know he going to get there. I know God going to open that door. I see it. I think a lot of y'all see it. Cleveland don't see it. They don't respect it. Shedeur said it. They trying to play God. He knew that in the draft. He knows it now. He knows it now. And to be honest with you, Shedeur could come in and take a losing franchise like Cleveland, and they should rally around him as a winning quarterback to want to win. But that's not the priority. So when I think it's DeMarcus Lawrence left Dallas and said, good, I'm happy I'm going to Cleveland because they're not trying to win a Super Bowl, he was right. And he wasn't the first person to say it. But Michael Parsons got in his feelings, and look at where Michael Parsons is right now. See, he thought hanging out with Jerry Jones that he wouldn't have to endure this. See, one of these things these guys are going to do, if you stay in this league, if they cozy up to you, is to exploit you. When the time comes, and you see, Jerry Jones was trying to one-on-one contract negotiations. People pointed out with a 24, 25-year-old Michael Parsons. I thought he was 26 or 28, but the point is, he has an agent, but he figured Jerry Jones likes to cozy up to people and make people think we cool. So when I ask you to take a pay cut, you gonna do it. That's what ESPN was saying. Shame on you for that. When it's time to renegotiate, if I don't want to pay you what you worth, we friends. You gonna go ahead and let me slide. He want the hookup. Saying that whatever they had talked about verbally is what Michael Parsons needs to stand behind. But Michael Parsons wasn't negotiating, they was just talking. And now Jerry want to hold that against him. That's what they saying on ESPN. So when you see them cozying in your face, like we saw they had Shedeur and Coach Prime featured Super Bowl weekend. Shedeur was in a celebrity game, but they pissed off about his celebrity status. Make sense. Coach Prime is on the stage with Bill Belichick in that Ring of Honor. But they treated Coach Prime like he was straight trash and let everybody know the Prime effect don't mean shit to us. Which is why I say, Coach Prime, you need to start your own league. You seem to be doing well now. You need to go on and do it because they're going to keep playing in your players' faces. I don't see it being no different. Tell me why it needs to be different, because the NFL still sees black players as inmates and they refuse to allow the inmates to run the prison. That's not going to change next year. This is where you start your own league. Everything Coach Prime has set up at Colorado, copy and paste it into your own league. It's going to work. Give Shedeur 2 sets of downs and get locked in. He might make everybody look crazy. The second team against the first team starters. I mean, from what I can remember, I need to go back and figure out, and if anybody knows what day it was that Shedeur had first team. It was Shedeur against the first team. Whatever day that was, look at his numbers. And Coach Prime said they practice like that at CU. Remember, Coach Prime has emulated the NFL model for certain things, except for the disrespect, humiliation, and degradation of players. They practice that way. He said that's why Travis Hunter is ready for the NFL. When people said, Travis was going to be your acclimation to the NFL, he said, football is football. I just got to learn the plays. What they were trying to say to Browns fans the other night is Shedeur needs a year to learn football in the NFL. I'm like, X's and O's are X's and O's. You might have a different level of talent because the players are older. But from what I saw, whoever that Browns player was that got pushed on the ground by the defensive guy where he just, exhaled, essentially. He in the NFL, ain't he? It ain't that hard. You just gotta know the system that you're being sent to. And they have to give you time. And they didn't give Huntley time. They playing in his face. Hopefully he get paid. That's all I can say. He got the veterans minimum with like $167,000. Hey Jam, how you doing? It said, my Bears are horrible, but even the Bears may be better than Cleveland. Everybody is better than Cleveland. I'm rooting for Caleb Williams this year. I know they set him up last year. Stefanski has them and Uncle Ruckus Barry on some straight BS. Yeah, facts. They took Luke Floria off the field, off the twos, and placed him with the ones. I knew that was gonna happen. Did anybody hear me say they trying to put Luke Floria in front of Deontay Johnson? I said it. I almost said it to the guys in spaces, but it was so many people talking at one time. I was like, you know what? I got shit to do. So peace out. I appreciate, the conversation and for the ones who were respectful, maybe next time. But I said it. I know I said they are trying to put Luke Floria in front of Deontay Johnson. I said it's something about that kid that they just want to seemingly hold him back. And it has happened. I knew it. I saw it coming. You could see it. You could see the way that they approach the white players or the non-black players are just totally different from how they approach. And I'm talking about Shedeur being a quarterback and Deontay being a receiver. And again, I said it. If you are a player and you look at Shedeur's situation and you think this was just about Shedeur, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. No, it's not. And if you are a non-QB and you think to yourself, Well, that's the quarterback problem. I'm finna go ahead and get my bag. You gonna find out. You gonna end up in Michael Parsons' situation. You gonna end up in Deontay Johnson's situation. They gonna try to use you like they did Myles Garrett, but all y'all not gonna have Myles Garrett's situation. Because the moment you say you want to trade, you might end up like Deshaun Watson. While y'all dragging him for getting $230 million, you need to be asking how the hell he got that, and can't nobody else get it. Let me see you ask for a trade. They still think the players are inmates, and they still think they running a prison, and their contracts are so restrictive. It's just a reminder. The contracts demand loyalty. The contracts force you in to submission. And if you color outside the lines, if you step outside the lines, you're going to lose your guarantees. Something y'all been fighting for. 115 watching. We at 346. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. So yes, they have set our guy up to fail. Go watch the Nebraska game 2024. He was on his way back when he realized what was going on. Believe me, he going into this game knowing, look at what's on the screen. Context. It might not be specific to it, but it fits. Deion made the statement last year. This is definitely a power statement being made by the NFL and the Browns ownership. Yeah. It said at least it looked like J.C. Horn will not be Carolina's lineup after today's wreck. Did he have on street clothes or some kind of outfit? Thank you, Chris. Cleveland is looking for that great white hope facts, and they're not built like that. Bleach blonde. So get this, right? Apparently Haslam and his significant other spouse or wife were on some show because, you know, it's marketing time, trying to sell people on the team. And while their social media is pretty, you know, nice graphics, images, up to date, something you could look at, everything that come out of their mouths, with the exception of Bernie Kosar, is straight trash. They said, yeah, you know, we just believe in being patient. In other words, we believe, even though we have Shedeur right here, we don't want him. We want to be patient for a white QB. We excited that we have the first round pick because what did I tell you they already did in college? They already trying to frame the top 4 coming out of college are white, so the NFL don't have to do again in 2026 what they did to Shedeur, Milroe in 2025. So they doing it in college. I told y'all they took care of Milroe in college. So I knew Deontay Johnson was going to get moved out the way for Floria, but they don't give Shedeur not an ounce of credit for developing Mike Floria. He gets trashed. It's they bold with it. They are bold with it. But because I know God ain't gonna give Shedeur nothing he can't bear, because I know Nebraska 2024 already happened, 2023 happened. I know Shedeur knows exactly what to do, which is why yesterday I put the link to the end of the Baylor game. The last offensive drive by CU in the rain. It's raining right now in Carolina. We were behind. Shedeur tied up that game, and Travis got us over the hump in overtime after Midas got us a tied record. So, you know, he been here before. I think we're going to go out here and watch him have fun. I think he going to ball out. Whether the O-line is weak due to incompetence or due to malfeasance, he going to be good because he's seen it already at CU. None of that at CU, year 1 or year 2 with a weak O-line on the right, none of it was in vain. He finna use it right here in the NFL because that's how the NFL is set up. People saying Shedeur need to take a minute to get better before players, you know, before he get thrown out here. They just don't want a young black quarterback to start. That's why Bryce Young and Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud will be sacked excessively. Jaden Daniels is not supposed to get to where he got. They said he could be the face of the league. I'm like, fine, make Jaden Daniels the face of the league because they damn sure don't want Shedeur to be it. Just like they didn't want Shedeur in New Orleans, but they still ended up with Spencer Rattler because Tyler Shaw is doing what Tyler Shaw was expected to do. Fail. So they done overpaid Tyler Shaw, and now he third string or second string. They done overpaid Jackson Dart. He is a confirmed third string. He doing exactly what he was said he was due. He maxed out in college. He hit his ceiling in college. They ignored all of that because these guys were white. And I told you, you're not going to be able to control this in the season. Facts. It's playing out. They didn't take none of this into consideration. They just wanted 2 white players in the draft at 2 and 3, 17 and 18, rather than 2 black elite talented players in Shedeur Sanders and Jalen Milroe. It was not just about Shedeur. The story worked with Shedeur. The plan was in motion before the combine. Per Mel Kiper Jr., the NFL does not want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders now. He's talking about skin, not dual threat or pocket passer, skin. Melanin is $10,000 an ounce. And they don't want nobody with that kind of melanin leading them to victory. They'll blow it all up first. And that's exactly what they're doing. Some people, if they can't be the captain, they will destroy and sink the whole ship. And that's what I see happening with the NFL. They exposing themselves all over the place, tearing down the competitiveness of the game in place of mediocrity to hold back melanated QBs who are talented and can win. People thought the name of the game was winning. We have now seen it is not. It is preference. And preference is failing. So stay tuned. Shedeur has been playing against Cleveland's first team defense. Did you see Carolina's offense? Or was that their defense? I think that might have been their defense. That's fine against Cleveland's defense, but did you see Carolina's defense? Carolina said they're playing with their first team. I don't believe anybody in Carolina has been developed for anything. I mean, in Cleveland, I don't think anybody in Cleveland has been developed for anything. All Cleveland been doing is trying to hold back Shedeur. Look at Tyler Huntley and the impossible expectations and situation they done put him in. A hostile environment. That's it. They are for a rude awakening Friday. I think he's going to be good. I think they totally underestimate who Shedeur is because they're not looking at who Shedeur is. They're looking at Shedeur's skin color. That's all they're looking at with Shedeur. They're looking at his melanin. They're not looking at nothing else. They have ignored everything else. What position is Mason Graham? A defensive tackle? Shedeur stayed running for his life in Colorado. Right. And they choose to ignore that because that's not what matters. They don't care. They don't give a damn about his skill set. They said it. We know he gonna outperform his draft stock. But they do everything to hold him back. What does that say? I'm trying to torture you. I'm making things hard for you. I know you good. Yep, Shedeur stays ready. Shedeur is ready. Or the other guy's ready. It's not about Shedeur. Shedeur gonna be a good game manager. Or the other guys gonna be ready. They probably know the other guys are not ready. If you saw that little clip with what looks like a defensive person from Carolina pushing down what looks like an offensive person from Cleveland, they're not ready. This is not about Shedeur. This is about Shedeur being in an impossible situation with Shedeur being ready, but Cleveland know they 3s and 4s or they 2 3s and 4s are not ready. They know this. They know this. It's probably not going to be the 2s. It's probably going to be the 3s and the 4s. Camp bodies. They look at Shedeur as a camp body. Yes. 4th string quarterbacks are camp bodies. Tyler Huntley, he's already been there, dismissed and discarded as a camp body with no suitable trade partner. So they just released him. That's what they planning to do to Shedeur. That's why nobody else is calling. They've been losing so much, they don't know what greatness looks like. Yeah, the Cleveland fans is just mind-blowing. I'm just wow. 12 stay ready for the smoke. Fact, Chris. He will. He does. He stays ready for the smoke. But they are discounting all of that. They are underestimating all of his talent, skills, instinct, and experience because they don't care about it. Just like they didn't care about the numbers that he was the best one and they still made him a 4th string. That's all they care about, is holding back a black quarterback, making sure he doesn't get to lead their team for an extended period of time. As much as they kicked Deshaun Watson, he had an 8-4 record going into the 2024 season. He has been hurt more in Cleveland than he ever was in Houston after a knee surgery. He has never played more than 8 or 9 games. He has never led their team an entire season. And the players that have, Deshaun Kaiser, 0-15. And they don't even talk about him because that's a disgrace. And for those of you that don't know and know about Coach Prime's tweet when Shedeur was 16 in 2018, Coach Prime made that tweet after they sat there and let Deshaun Kaiser go 0-15 for 15 weeks. He was speaking up for that young man. He should have. So all it proves, when they said, no, we like Coach Prime, this, that, and the other, if they have some feelings about what Coach Prime said, it proves what I said. They lured Shedeur pre-draft extensively under false pretenses. That is fraud. Put that under organizational malpractice too. Like I said, they just exposing themselves all over the place. So we're going to get out of here. We'll be back tonight. We're excited about the game. If you haven't watched Nebraska 2023-2024, I suggest you go watch it. Colorado football had great cinematic highlights. I might share them tonight. I'd have to doctor them up a little bit first. They're good. They're good. And it shows you that Colorado was victorious. This was the second game of the season before they hit that 3-0 stretch. Everybody was all in with winning. But when they hit 3-0, things changed. And when they got to Nebraska, the second year, the fix was in from the inside. Failing miserably, but no rotating of players. The players that failed shouldn't have failed, because if you watch film, you knew who was out there. And we played the same guy, number 9, that people said they were intimidated by. We played him in 2023 and won. The next day after that game, Jerry Jones signs Dak Prescott to this contract that, keeps him there. But Jerry said already he don't want to talk about another long-term contract with Dak. Because Shedeur ended up in Cleveland. I mean, it kind of feels like Nebraska all over again. I'm leaning towards 2024 with Jerry Jones looking at his future. Yeah, I can see it. His contract is only $4 million. Last year, Shedeur was in college when they played Nebraska, and people thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick. That's $50 million when you put it all together. About 45, 46, 48. Well, it's different now. He only $4 million. I need somebody for the future. Dak is not my future. He's my current franchise player. Joe Milton is doing good, but I got him for cheap too, because they devalued him and put him behind Drake May, but he balling out in Dallas training camp. They devalue a lot of these, if not all, black quarterbacks. Every last one of them that they can in the draft. When it's a lot of them in the draft, somebody going to get the short stick. That's why Sellers should have stayed in college for 2 more years. But he going to get his welcome to the NFL, whether it's pre-draft, in the draft, in his career. Just look at Cam. Look at Milroe. He speaks volumes. All right, y'all. So we're going to get out of here. Our guys hanging out. We're going to celebrate this game. Shedeur got this. This ain't on Shedeur. It's not on Shedeur. He just got to be a good game manager. They probably going to use a lot of run plays to keep Shedeur from shining. And if they let him air it out, then somebody got to catch it and hold on to it. And again, he playing with camp bodies. They're treating him like he's a camp body. So they paired him up with camp bodies against Carolina's best. Keep that in mind. So they're trying to set him up to fail. I think he's going to be victorious because this is Nebraska 2024 all over again. He's going to see it coming. He should be victorious. But again, this is a team sport. So I know he good, but I don't know about the rest. So I'll be back tonight, 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's just probably gonna be more to talk about Shedeur. This is a topic that is just never ending. We're gonna be talking about this in perpetuity because what I want y'all to understand, the fact that nobody's has the phone jumping to get him. Nobody's publicly speaking out except for Myles Garrett about him being a good QB. This, that, and the other. You don't hear nobody talking about Shedeur. That's not normal. A QB of Shedeur's caliber, everybody should be fighting to get him. That means they can't. That means they will likely be this way his entire NFL career, which they will try to make short or bury him somewhere. And he gonna have to be tough and let God direct his steps because they clearly think they're in charge. But the point is, they're not gonna let up no time soon. Nobody's willing to hold them accountable. It's bleak, but it's true. There you go, B. Thomas. I'm gonna leave that on the screen. The Browns organization needs to be too. That's facts. So I'll see y'all tonight at 10:35. Thank you for the wonderful engagement. Over 300 of us. Hit the like button. I mean, to have 2,000 views and 100 likes now, we can't do it like that. We can't do it like that. We want to show more respect for the talent that God has given me and the knowledge that he has bestowed upon me. So let's hit the like button. Let's hit the like button. Hit the like button. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports, and subscribe if you're new to us. See y'all tonight. Thank you. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.